Chasm from the right. And so Yelp, what was Yelp's Topo Chico? They're only successful in Boston and San Francisco, where everyone has a computer, uses Web 2. What was Yelp's Topo Chico? What was Yelp's Cross the Chasm from the right? So remember the Kendall Scott conversation of marketing or selling? So that's marketing, but the Topo Chico is Larry Chang, where I am an attractive guy asking women to sign up. And so is it marketing or is it selling? Because you kind of need to market a little bit, but then you need to sell it. And that's what like Luke Nosek did also from the University of Illinois, is he sold for Peter. Like Peter and Max, also University of Illinois, they never hired a VP of sales guy. They used an engineer. And if they don't use Luke Nosek doesn't bring me in, and PayPal dies. So if Stanford doesn't connect up to University of Illinois and me, nothing at PayPal would have survived. Because Peter hired Luke to be VP of Biz Dev, just basically VP sales. And so the Topo Chico is cross the chasm from the right, but a massive amount of sales effort to do lead gen. And so Yelp would hand out Yelp swag to women and be like, hey, it'd be great if you could write a review about your restaurant experience. By the way, come to a party. And so we used free shit and parties to get Austin up and going for this dude named Kevin Newsom, I think. And Kevin was a shit community manager, and he became vice president Yelp because everything that we did in Austin, me, Kenny, and Luke, okay, that was the original PUA. Do you know what PUA is? PUA is pick up artists. So we wanted to meet a shit ton of women, as you can't just show up and be like, hey, those two are founders of PayPal and I'm kind of a founder of PayPal. You just can't say that, okay? That's like saying you invented Post-it notes. But what you can say is, hey, we're from California, but we're hosting a cool party. Would you like to come to a party because you're super hot? And guess how many women said yes? Yeah, all of them. And so that's a PUA. And so we came and we're like, okay, we got to have a pretend job. We can't just roll up as a VC, right? Like, that doesn't work, actually. And that's what's counterintuitive. What do we do? And then so we're like, well, let's just help. Like, and then I was like, let's just help Jeremy and Russ's Yelp, okay? Because isn't your company floundering? Well, let's get them to give us $200, okay? And then that'll be our marketing budget. And then they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You need $200? Yeah, I got $200. Where you're reducing it to the ridiculous. And then for Yelp, at that ACL, we probably made like $5 million. Because we crossed the chasm from the right. And they already were spending money on like parties. They just didn't know what the F they were doing. And then we're like, okay, come to these parties. And then ACL had a problem. Do you notice a trend here? You do what Mark McCormick, oh my God, another Mark McCormick, which is HTG, HFA, OTR, how to get home field advantage on the road. And so you're like, what problems does ACL have? And Yelp didn't exist. Uber didn't exist at the time. I'm getting my APIs mixed up. Uber didn't exist at the time. So we bought a shuttle that went between the Four Seasons and ACL at Zilker. It didn't go anywhere else but the Four Seasons. And then, because once you get to the Four Seasons, you can walk to your downtown hotel, right? Or party with us. So then we just rented a shuttle, and all it did was just drive between Zilker, Four Seasons, Zilker, Four Seasons. So we're crossing the chasm from the right by having more shit from the right, which is, do you want to be stuck at fucking Zilker, or do you want to get back downtown? It's kind of a hike. And if you're drunk, you're going to get lost. And so we bought a shuttle, and like the return on investment on a shuttle was like 1,000,000,000%. Cross the chasm from the right. And so then those guys, bless their hearts, Kenny and Luke, founder of PayPal, founder of Founders Fund, non-employee co-founder of Founders Fund. They're like, oh my God, the Four Seasons worked so well. Guess what they did to cross the chasm from the left? Guess. The Four Seasons is working great. It's been working great for 2 or 3 ACLs and South by, okay? Like, it's great. Like, it works every time, every year. And this is when I was bringing 24 women from Silicon Valley to Austin to win ACL and South by. Guess what they did when they started winning too much? Cross the chasm from the left, loses focus. They bought a house in the freaking hills, and they bought a nightclub. I'm like, why are we buying, like why are we buying a house? We have the Four Seasons and it's free. Like, the company paid. Like, why would you buy a nightclub? Like, do we even need a nightclub? They bought a nightclub and they bought a house. Is that not hilarious? Pangea. I'm like, no, I don't want to invest with you. I don't even want to go to your nightclub. I want to go where the current vagina is. Like, why do I need to hire bartenders and like run a business? Like, I barely have time to run vagina. And they're like, no, this will be good because we'll own the club. I'm like, what club do you not own right now on an external API? Which is the Robert Kiyosaki. Own something to rent it out, rent something to rent it out, or just run the API. Yeah, we all 3 live here now. Kenny Howry, Luke Nosik, Larry Chang. All because we used to ace South by and ACL. What are you going to do to help EUTWM PPM David? Because all this is EUTWM PPM, which I came up with later, but that's all this is, which is how do you engineer up a tidal wave of momentum, perpetual promotion machine? How? EUTWM PPM, what David put in the chat. How are you going to help David at 5:55 Saturday? Yeah, 5:55 p.m. Just like you when you're late. Remember last week at 5:30, you're late, and then David was a no-show because he got a flat tire at Kendall Scott. So now we're gonna do Kendall Scott correctly. So what are you gonna do to make $1 million? Maybe not $1 million because, lack of focus, lack of whatever. Let's put the dollar sum really low for one night. 30 grand. $30,000. How are you gonna do 30? I could do 30 in like a minute. How are you gonna do 30K? For him. Well, for you too, but like just donate. You're gonna go out Saturday night anyway. You might as well just do the Kendall Scott, and and you should have at least tried to invite me to your party, but that's fine that you dropped the ball on that. Larry's always welcome at any party. Like it's like bringing a nice $2,000 bottle of wine, like that's always welcome. So how are you going to EUTWM PPM? Because all this time on the phone will be wasted or hurtful if you don't go from $0 to $30K on the way to 600K. Oh shit. Why do you think me, Kenny, and Luke helped Jeremy? And yeah, Luke and Kenny own stock, okay? But what happens at a venture firm is you don't really get the carry. I mean, you get it, but it's so watered down amongst 13 Founders Fund at the time partners. So were they even making money? And plus they already had hundreds of millions of dollars. So I mean, like, do you see what I'm saying? So like, you're being an idiot is the conclusion to that. Because you won't practice making money when you can actually practice making money. Because you won't actually get off of zero. Okay, you sort of have, okay, in a blue pill, you've been off of zero, but like most people, they wouldn't know your brand name that you've gotten off of zero. Does that make sense? Do you have any experience being a legend? Do you have any experience doing a play-call play that's Mark McCormack? You don't. And I know this because I've been listening. So you may choose to get off of zero and practice this because this is a slam dunk, or this conversation will have really only hurt you because you're going to take like a month to 3 years to process, is any of this information that's actually already reported in every gossip rag and complaint logged, if you can read with the red pill mindset. Like, this information's all already out there. So will you try to run one of the protocols versus like barely having written down? Like, I don't even know what your notes look like right now. So the stage that you're at right now, do I have your permission to be honest with you? So you're at the stage of me prior to meeting Augie Garrido, and you need to be at the stage where you paid the price for having lost your mentor, Augie Garrido, where you're now voraciously needing to succeed. And you're kind of, I mean, to be brutally honest, you're not. Because I don't even want to ask who your last mentor was. I don't want to ask. Because the stage that you're at is me with Augie during Augie, where I need you, or not I need you need you to be at the stage where you meet Mark McCormack, a mentor that you kind of don't deserve, with a voracious appetite to make a crap ton of money. Or okay. You do. But the thing that you're hesitating with your scarcity mindset is you're going to want to hang out on Saturday night and like fuck around and have fun. Why not fuck around, have fun, and help David make money while you get to get air quotes context? Because my next question is what is your first commercially viable success for you? Like what is your commercially viable success? Because remember, no, I go on, because this is this thing that we also talked about at JW. So what is your first commercially viable success? Yes, yes. Okay, so this is, can you agree with me that you getting a commercially viable thing would help you in your confidence ginormously? Because you're still in analysis mode and context and research mode, whereas you need to be in flow mode where you're like, oh my God, like I was barely involved in the founding of Founders Fund. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's where, and I know that sounds so douchey, but it's true. And that's kind of where you're like, that's where the cheesecake is, oh, I helped David, like we did this thing. And then now you've got a delicious, edible story, okay? Which is, yeah, we're in a book club. How do I know David? Oh, we're in a book club. And then crazy enough, we hosted this thing at Kendall Scott, and we watched my mentor Larry sell like $30,000 worth of shit. It was like magical. And I got involved because I like to fuck around and make money. But then the story gets watered down and be like, oh yeah, I totally ran that event, and I helped my friend David, who I met at book club, sell speed reading. Are you interested in speed reading? Well, one of our courses is $980,000. What? We got a cheap course for $2,000, but like we got one for, Larry sold one for like almost $1 million. I dropped, I literally, like my jaw dropped when he asked for like $1 million, but he got it. I don't get it. That's the cookie, some version of that flippin' story where people are going to be like, is that even real? That's Saturday night. And then that way, whatever commercially viable thing that you're going to do will be super easy. Because what is your plan for something commercially viable? Like what is Ideal Lab, Dream Lab? What's the first thing you guys ship? Oh yeah, I get it. I remember. Yes. I remember. This is the first thing that I actually learned about you. I remember. So, and this is where I already, this second time we've talked about this, is what VR AR conference can you go win to cross the chasm from the right, to get HCG, HFA, OTR, to external API, the conference. Those three protocols for self-funding, self-fund while you self-fund. So you fund yourself in going to this conference. What conference, if you were to speak, would double your company? This is perfect. 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 So this is why you're going to do EUTWMPPM for David on Saturday, because this goes back to the notes that you didn't take at Kendall Scott, where what's the difference between marketing and sales? Because you're going to go right into the left part of the chasm with like marketing dollars, and there is risk everywhere you stand because you're not getting adoption and you're doing a shitty job of selling and marketing. So you literally check all the boxes for dying. But that's okay, which is why we're having this conversation. Is you want to go to an Oculus related thing and run their conference for them, because then you will be talking to users head to head, while investors overhear you talking to users. And do you see how there's like literally 22 things that all circle back on each other? Because you'll be stuck in the loser loop of no adoption, no energy, and fuck momentum. Like you'll be going literally backwards. Whereas you're engineering up a tidal wave of momentum. And what are you calling your product? So you want to have a longer name that is a pitch. So your game is your company, is your website. And I know you want to be $1 billion company, but the path to $1 billion goes through 600K, where the Breach VR game by Blake and team, like that's your URL. And we get into nomenclature because the reason it's called Duck 9 is it's deep underground credit knowledge 9. Duck 9, you avoid nines on your credit report. And the first page of the website would be my face, my full name, and my real cell phone number. And that's done for a reason, because I was trying to get to 600K. And so that's your Idea Lab, Dream Lab, Blake, like you're in 17 directions where it just needs to be just one direction, only one direction, which is your VR game is your pitch, and you have a web app landing page before downloading the VR game, some kind of onboarding where you're collecting cell phone numbers. Are you writing this stuff down? You're collecting cell phone numbers of people to onboard for your VR game. So initially your VR game is some shitty version over text messaging where, you play a VR game, but you're just sending them like 4-second vagina pickup tips, whatever it is. And so initially, like it's stupid and nothing, but it gets you up and going to generate leads. So that way, step one is get 4-second clips, video clips of the game. Like, did you want to go into the tunnel or stay by the lake? And then they get a stay by the lake video clip or into the tunnel video clip. And then now you're giving people snippets of your yet to be shipped VR game. And then you don't get distracted by saying like, oh, we'll develop your game for you. Or you cross the chasm from the right and be like, who wants to pay me $9 million to develop this VR game? Because this is how to do a VR game on your own. So you pick whether you want to be B2B or B2C. And then you go to that conference with that Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week, friends with him too, and you sell carrots the way that you sell your video game the way that Larry Chang sells vagina whispering, and that Tim Ferriss sells carrots, and you win that conference using ilovecarrots.com. And then that's your commercially viable first thing. So you want to pick one thing, and then you want to focus. Where David can't even pick the one thing, and we're in book club. And then yesterday I was like, where's your focus? And then that's why he sent that text of, I finally need to get focus. And so as my professional genius, largest repository of entrepreneurship knowledge in North America and in the history of mankind, I'm recommending, and I'm saying that with a straight face because it's actually true. I recommend that you try to EUTWM PPM with David first before you win your own speed reading. Your thing, okay, could be as dumb as speed coding VR. I'm not even joking. For enterprise. Speed coding VR for enterprise. Don't, zero. Don't. They get zero. Dude, they just get to be cool for knowing about Yelp. I'm not paying $15 per affiliate. Like, you just get to know about it because it's cool. What are they affiliate marketing though? The next game? So the counterintuitive thing for you is you not only want to promote your game, you want to promote 2 to 10 games like your game. And that's Cross the Chasm from the right. And because nobody wants a person who just promotes themselves. And this is counterintuitive and death causing because scarcity mindset, minority from a third world country, which technically I am, minority people never do this, and Caucasian white people do it intrinsically. It's like team playing at the nightclub where you're hoping to get laid and you can't team play for other people. This is team playing. This is vagina whispering, is you actually want to identify 2 to 5 other VR games and promote them too without their consent. You don't ink up an agreement. You just are like, hey, I'm Blake and these are 5 cool games I'm totally excited about. And then intrinsically, look at how much you found out about my other shit because of my surface layer of shit. Do you see what I'm saying? And so there's no way you're going to get momentum doing anything that you had as your idea. Like, none of it is okay. That's some momentum, and you I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying do that 100x, like the 20x effectiveness. So you keep doing that, but you also do the layer on top. So you keep testing and you keep grooming and you keep lead gen and get that funnel. But your funnel needs to go from 20,000 to like 2 million people. And that happens only when you don't need that anymore. I don't need for this to succeed. Like, it's gonna succeed. Do you see that attitude? And because you sound like to people, you would sound like a virgin. And you said Dana White, I did not. Okay. So that's what he did. And he gets into football promotion. He promotes shit that he doesn't own. Perfect example. Yes. See? I know your name drop better than you do. Yeah, even I thought it was I called it a name drop, but what I thought it was a citation, but it turns out it was just hearsay. And so he's the guy who brokered a lot of NFL football shit. Dana White, the guy in Vegas. Yeah, he promotes half the shit he promotes he doesn't own. I would say 75% of the shit that he promotes he doesn't own. Which is why he's able to have the 25% blossom. Like, he's one of the most innovative sports commissioner entrepreneurs. You know, he's definitely top 5, top 10. And so he would for sure fucking promote. And I think he brokered the Vegas Raiders transition too. I don't think he owns any of the Raiders or the NFL. And you're welcome. He only got that because he would promote wrestlers that he did not represent. When he was repping wrestlers, you know how I know this? Because Mark McCormack. Have I ever mentioned my mentor? So he's this guy, he wrote this book, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School. The reason I bring him up is he would rep models and athletes that he didn't rep. Oh my God, have you heard this presentation? I don't think I've ever mentioned it before. How to do what Mark McCormack does without having to hire Mark McCormack. Oh. Do you see how all this stuff circles? And so he would promote models that he did not rep. And guess what? He ended up repping them later. New York Fashion Week. HTMMWYMM. So he would promote other models working for other agencies at a thing that was commercially viable. New York Fashion Week. So he repped models and he repped other people's models. Whereas most people would just be like, I'm just going to rep my own shit. And then those people never go anywhere. It's not playing the long game. It's not playing the long game. It's not playing the long game. It's not dying in the short term because you sound like a loser. And I know I'm being hard on you, but the only reason I'm being hard on you is because you're from Naperville. What? Yeah, because you're from Naperville and you can be coached hard, okay? Because it's not playing the long game and hoping it comes back to you. It's making $30,000 helping out your friend David who drives an abysmal car. If you can't help out a friend and go to a party and probably get 2 to 10 girls to want to blow you at Kendall Scott, I don't know what kind of friend you are to me or him. Right? Like, how do you not want to? And plus, like, just watching it, you don't even have to do anything. You can just sit and watch because it's going to be crazy. And I got the puppy. Have you met my dog before? He's pretty smart. His name's Tom Brady. I know you have. I'm asking you stupid questions. Yeah, I'm asking you stupid questions to make sure the brain's on. So Brady is the closer. I'm glad we're talking about this. This works for your Oculus conference of VR shit. It's called Anchor plus Satellite. So the anchor is the closer. And this is why we switch positions. Add this to the PUA chat of Vagina Whisperer, which is Anchor plus Satellite. Anchor is the closer. Satellite is the booth babe. Now, in a group of 4 guys, we rotate who's the satellite and who the anchor is. We rotate who the booth babe is and who the closer is. So let's take Kate. I was my own satellite before my own anchor, but I brought in other people who were satellite because she had friends. And so there's an opener. And so that opener is a satellite who also can be a closer. So that's just a more advanced version of anchor plus satellite. But the way it works at a booth is there's people that work as satellite, they funnel to the anchor. The anchor is the closer. And so using something more advanced, which is a dog, because he's not even a human, is Brady becomes the anchor closer because he also is kind of acting like a satellite because people just see Brady and they're like, oh, I want to get closed by him. And then that's what also is called by fallout pussy. Fallout pussy is the pussy from you being friends with me trying to close Kate, and then her two friends, Sarah and I can't remember. So then when the two satellites connect, that's fallout pussy. That's satellite to something that you didn't know. And the reason that this works also at a sales booth is that there's red zone, yellow zone, green zone. If they come inside the red zone, they're going to get closed. But then when your booth gets really popular, the yellow zone is swollen. And then if you remember our analogy of, let's say we were holding a booth at Kendall Scott, we also held a booth at Superstition. Not a booth, but like a territory. And then once we controlled the territory, our closed zone became huge. Because if you step inside my red zone, I'm scoring a tutty. And then the red zone became larger and larger and larger. And then the yellow zone, our yellow and red zone were so large that dudes were coming into my red zone saying, hey, I want to be friends with you so I can get some of your fallout vagina. See? That is totally true, right? And so that's why you promote other dick. That's why you promote other VR games. You're not playing the long game for karma. You're closing now because women, they see, oh my God, the highest sexual market value people are going to the Chinese dude with the cowboy hat and they're paying attention to him like he's handing out $600,000 bills. Guess what? I am. And women, okay, they're not necessarily gold diggers, but they pay attention to what other men pay attention to because they can't ask questions about money, and their idea of due diligence is going to LinkedIn. And so that's the short-term close, is you promote other social proof. And social proof is written up by a loser who kind of didn't go to get an engineering degree and study aero or fluid dynamics or volatility because you can literally conjure up momentum. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this way to conjure up momentum. Oh, what was the hashtag? Oh, EUTWMPPM. That's funny, right? Because I said that like 100 times. So that's social proof for money, is conjuring up money and literally not making money, but mining fiat. Like mining Bitcoin, but you're mining fiat, because mining fiat, there's no competition. Mining Bitcoin, not nearly impossible, but very competitive. Will you mine fiat? Will you mine fiat? Will you mine fiat? You gotta get going. Will you mine fiat at 5:55 with David? And then you'll be doing Saturday. And then you'll be doing he canceled that stupid trip to North Carolina to like talk about sales and not sell. Classic entrepreneur move. I'm gonna go to college to learn entrepreneurship. Will you write me a recommendation to like Stanford Business School? Oh, everything I'm going to need to do, I'm going to need to do after I graduate from my JD MBA quad admit from Harvard, Stanford, because all the things that I need to do will be waiting for me. This is great, right? Sounds good.